just a quick video. I thought I would at least just show you some testing on the Albrecht 2990. It's a portable radio, does FM, AM and sideband. There are a couple of historical brands. I think the Albrecht is the only one available, but there was a Magnum 1012, which is the identical radio, but I think that's no longer available. So I did a test on this about a week ago, just a power output test, and it was only putting about 2.8 watts, which is a little bit meager. The spec is for AM, FM. So I have been inside, pull this back cover off. There's a little bit of information on the internet, but there's 2 coils and an inductor, part of the final output circuit. So those need to be peaked. As it came stock, I didn't see any benefit. Those were peaked. And then there is a variable resistor for power output, and that was all that needed to be adjusted, and took this up easily to the 4 watts. It's a little bit over 4 right now, but I'll do a quick test and demonstrate that for you. It is a small unit. This is the battery pack, slides on the bottom there. As you can see, the battery pack is virtually the same size as the actual radio. This takes AA rechargeables, and that's it. It's a pretty good little radio, but we'll turn that on. What I've got two meters here. This one has a 5 watt slug, RMS, average power only. This one has a 25 watt slug in it, and then I can switch this one from average to peak. So we'll switch that one into peak mode when we do the AM test. So to start with, we'll just key up on FM, and you'll see the FM carrier. I'm doing this on channel 40 midband, kind of the middle of the range. So FM carrier keyed up. This is just below the 5 mark. It's about 4.7. And this one here is just a little over 4. Obviously with that scale, it's not quite as granular as this one. So solid 4 output, and I will say when cold, and I'll come back to that in a second. AM carrier only, should be the same as FM. We go about 4.7, just over the 4, so pretty much exactly the same. So I'll switch this one into peak mode. So this will continue measuring the RMS, and now this one will register on the peak. And I'll just do a quick whistle test. I don't know if you could see that there, but that peaked up to about 8. So right now this is dead key AM, about 4.7. peaking to about 8 watts, which is about right for the spec. I think the spec is 4 to 7, to peaking 7, something like that. We'll do a quick test on sideband. Sideband, as you'll see here, peaks to about the 5 mark. It does not peak to the 8, unfortunately. So it peaks to the carrier. There, you saw that going up to about the 5. Great little radio. Now I mentioned heat a few seconds ago. What I have found, when you open this up, obviously the circuit boards, there is a metal chassis, and also on top is a separate aluminium. It's just a thin plate acting as a bit of a heat sink with heat compound, and it's just screwed at one side into the frame. So that's the only metal in here to dissipate heat, and then the whole thing is surrounded by plastic, so it doesn't have much ability to dissipate heat. And after a few overs, the heat builds up and the power does go down quite a bit. So this is at 4.7 right now. Once this is heated up after a few overs, that might well drop to about 3.8. So almost a watt of power is lost as this thing heats up. So just to be cognizant of that. But a great radio. For those that don't know, this can cover 10 meters all the way through to 12 meters. Comes from the factory, set up as a CB, and you can select which European country setup, Germany, the UK, Ireland, whichever setup. And then behind the PTT switch, here's a couple of contacts. If you desolder those contacts and then short out a couple of contacts when you turn it on, then you have the wider selection. You can just turn this into a purely 10 meter amateur radio, a purely 12 meter amateur radio, or completely wideband it if you so wish. So great unit. I have the car kit. I run this in the car, and then I can grab the battery and the antenna, and it's a nice little portable unit. That's it. That's the Albrecht AE 2990 AFS.